We've got some major breaking updates in some of the chaos that has unfolded over the past couple of days. For those of you that have seen the story I did this morning, there are two people, a man and I believe his wife, came out of their home in St. Louis armed and were brandishing their weapons, pointing them at protesters. Now, that's the gist of the story. They've now spoken out, issued a statement saying they're in fear for their lives. The quick context for those that aren't familiar: this large group of I can't call them protesters because we're well beyond this and because they broke onto private property, okay? You want to call them protesters, but there's been now 5 shootings in the Chaz. There was a shooting in Louisville, and it was a Black Lives Matter rioter who engaged in this mass shooting. We're going to go through this. This is tough. This is serious stuff, okay? So they broke onto a private community, destroying the gate. Confirmed. We have photo evidence proving it. And they said they were in fear for their lives and came out with weapons. Now, they probably should know how to use those weapons, have some basic training, which doesn't seem like they do. But it does seem like they were in the right to defend their private property. I was reading some things about St. Louis, castle doctrine. It could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. We have the statement. But initially, I was planning on just talking about the this is really, really crazy. A man was arrested in Louisville because he was firing indiscriminately into a crowd of protesters, and he killed a journalist. This is a journalist who eventually became an advocate, I suppose. But we now have a confirmed far-left Black Lives Matter mass shooter. It's not the first. Okay, we had the other identity extremists in there's been several now. There was Dallas. There was, I believe, Baton Rouge. There was Baltimore. I could be wrong, and I don't have a list pulled up, but this look, man, this kind of stuff keeps happening, and I think, my fear is that it's escalation is likely. Okay, so let me just start. We're going to read this. We're going to get their statement. But man, I just want to tell you, be calm. Okay, a lot of people are mad because they say, it's fear mongering when I cover these stories. Listen. Let me explain this. Okay, I'm just reading the news. All right, these are the big trending stories. This story right now is trending on Twitter. They all are. All right, I'm not just. I'm not going online and being like, what's the craziest story I can talk about? These are major international trending topics. It's how I typically decide, what stories I cover. So if you don't like the fact that I'm talking about this, take it up with literally what people are interested in. When I do news stories on like my main channel, for instance, and I'm talking about politics and Trump, it's because these are the top trending stories. All right. These are the biggest news stories. I try to talk about them. Just want you to know that. Let's read this story from KMOV. We were in fear of our lives. Central West End couple seen pointing guns at protesters speaks. They say hundreds of protesters chanted and marched to St. Louis Mayor Lyda Crewson's home Sunday night, calling for her resignation. Now, quick context, it's because she was doing a live stream where she read out names and addresses of defund the police activists. Not okay. I'm completely opposed to that. A group of 300 protesters chanting "Resign, Lyda, take the cops with you" marched after Crewson read the names and addresses of demonstrators, calling for defund the police specifically. During the protest, a couple in nearby homes stepped outside with guns around 7:30 p.m. Images and video showed 61-year-old Patricia McCloskey pointing a handgun at the crowd, and her husband, 63-year-old Mark McCloskey, was seen holding a rifle. The couple are personal injury lawyers who work together in the McCloskey Law Center. The images and videos were shared thousands of times. So it looks like we have a statement. The homeowner reached out to News 4 Monday morning saying he was having dinner with his family outside his home when the crowd went through the wrought iron gates marked with no trespassing and private property signs on Portland Place. Quote, a mob of at least 100 smashed through the historic wrought iron gates of Portland Place, destroying them, rushed towards my home where my family was having dinner outside, and put us in fear of our lives. Video circulating on social media shows protesters walking through the gate. It is unclear when the gate was damaged, but it was. Take a look at this photo. It looks like, in my opinion, it was destroyed so they could actually get through. You see, this gate right here that's been destroyed, the other one's just open. It's got the metal piece still in the ground, stopping it from being opened. So it looks like somehow they destroyed it. And perhaps they did so that it would break the latch, allowing them to open the gates. I don't know for sure. Maybe not. It's unclear. They say in this video, you can see protesters walk right through the gate. It's not destroyed when they walk onto the street. You can hear McCloskey say, "Get the hell out of my neighborhood." According to the police, the couple told protesters that they were trespassing on a private street and needed to leave. Shortly after, the couple grabbed their guns after noticing several armed protesters in the crowd shouting threats. Okay, Jim Sciutto of CNN, who said unarmed protesters. Not the case. At least as far as we can tell, he said, she said. Now, I would believe, yes, the protesters are armed. Why? We see them armed everywhere. This is what I tell people when it comes to conflict and crisis. They say, what was that sound? Was that fireworks? Do you see anyone holding fireworks? Okay, so let me tell you something. When you got these groups coming out, I don't believe these homeowners just arbitrarily just decided to go inside and get weapons. They say protesters were armed. Seems reasonable. I don't know for sure. Seems reasonable. Check it out. It's a quote. This is all private property. There are no public sidewalks or public streets. We were told that we would be killed. Our home burned and our dog killed. We were all alone facing an angry mob. Later in the night, protesters painted resign on the street in front of the mayor's house. During a Facebook Live that we get. So that's the update here, okay? These two people have now spoken out about why they did what they did. And if we want to take their word, then they said the gates were destroyed. That's true. They said they saw armed protesters, so they got their weapons. Look, man, where do you think all this stuff goes? You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope everybody settles down. Let's hope it doesn't have to come to this, and let's hope people stop. But the far left has been protesting for a month straight now. A month. The guy's already, the George Floyd cop has already been arrested and indicted. What more do they want? Everything. That's what they want. And that's what scares me. They're not stopping. It is not the right that is going out and doing anything. It is the left. These people are on their property, on private property. These people came in, destroyed their fence. Historic gate, apparently. I want to get now to the more shocking story. Stephen Lopez, mass shooter, Black Lives Matter activist, rioter, had been charged and released, and now we know it. I'm going to do something I don't normally like to do, but I think I need to in times of extreme crisis, okay? I shouted this out earlier today. I'm going to do it again. So forgive me if you're not a fan, but I really do think this is important. Safeandreadymeals.com. It's one of the very few things I actually do promotions for. I only do promotions for things that I think are absolutely necessary or that I actually use, right? There are a lot of things people want me to promote. I won't do it. But these are emergency food buckets. You put them in the closet, you forget about them. I have some myself, okay? I went out and bought some firearms for self-defense, for self-preservation, so I can mind my own business. You know, I don't want people going out and doing crazy things. I want everyone to stop this. I want law and order, okay? I want the police to be able to do their jobs, to restore order so that everything can function lawfully and safely. That's what I'm hoping for. But we have no guarantees. That's why I'm giving a shout out. Full disclosure, this does support my content. This is a sponsor spot, okay? I do them when I feel like people rag on me all day and night for the safe and ready meal stuff. I'll tell you what, man. You put them in your closet, you're going to forget about them. They're good. They say for up to 25 years. They do have expiration dates, so I'm not entirely sure how it necessarily works. Right now, they've got, just on this promo site, this promotion, it's a 4-week supply, which I believe is 2 buckets. Get it or don't. Make fun of me all you want. I'm just telling you, man, I really want you guys to be safe. I want everyone to be safe. I don't want to hear stories of people running out of food. I don't want to hear stories about people running into stores. Look, we saw food shortages during COVID. It's only gotten crazier. My only expectation, the only thing I can see happening is as this year escalates to an extreme degree, maybe after November, the election stops, win or lose, whoever happens, it just all goes quiet. If you want to make that bet, you do it, okay? And if you do, then feel free to make fun of me. I'm fine with that. Make fun of me all day and night. Please. You're entitled to your opinion. I really do think this is important stuff, all right? So get it if you want. The link is in the description below. Because now I'm going to tell you this is the scary stuff, man. What we know about Stephen Lopez, the suspect in the fatal Jefferson Square Park shooting. A journalist was killed. There was a famous viral tweet from someone. It's really annoying. And I'm going to give you my version now, okay? Which is basically a play on this viral tweet that happened in, what was it, 2018? I can't remember. We begged you, please stop these extremists, but you wouldn't listen. And now someone is dead. This was after some, violent right-wing, far-right guy committed an atrocity, killed some people, or killed somebody. And then all of these tweets popped up were saying that we begged you, please ban these people from social media. Well, I've been warning. Many people have as well. They keep saying things like, well, the far left has never done anything. Or Antifa has never done anything. Antifa is a blanket umbrella. It's an ideology. It is not just anti-fascism. These people who brandish this flag, who use these symbols and recruit others, they are loose-knit on purpose. So they're hard to track, but they are organized. Now, this guy, I'm not saying is. This is a far-left extremist. He had protested for Black Lives Matter. He had been arrested for rioting. He had been released. And he took his gun and he indiscriminately opened fire on a park, hitting 2 people, killing 1. A journalist. Here's the story. What we know about Stephen Lopez, the suspect in the fatal Jefferson Square Park shooting. A frequent participant in Louisville's month of protests has been accused of fatally shooting a photographer in Jefferson Square Park after a dispute with another person. Stephen Nelson Lopez, 23, is facing charges of murder and first-degree wanton endangerment, Louisville Metro Police officials said Sunday after releasing his arrest citation. Lopez is accused of killing Tyler Girth, a 27-year-old Louisville photographer who had become a vocal supporter of the protests. At 8:59 p.m. Saturday, Metro Safe Communications reported multiple gunshots being fired in Jefferson Square Park. Arriving officers found one person shot in the face in the middle of the park near a concrete wall, according to Lopez's arrest citation. Several witnesses identified Lopez, who had frequented the park, as the shooter, and video surveillance showed him shooting a handgun into the crowd, the citation says. Several bystanders returned fire, shooting Lopez in the leg, according to the citation. He was taken to University of Louisville Hospital and arrested and charged at 10:47 p.m. it states. Maxwell Mitchell, a protester who often streams video of the demonstrations, recorded video of the man identified as Lopez shooting multiple times Saturday night into the park. Mitchell said Lopez fired at least 2 shots into the air before he shot toward the encampment. Video shown by LMPD at a Sunday press briefing showed a man they say is Lopez pointing his gun in the air as those around him scattered. A speaker at the Kentucky Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression press conference earlier Sunday made several references to Lopez, saying he had been involved in multiple disturbances at the camp and had to be escorted away from Jefferson Square Park before the shooting. This was the story that had been going viral but wasn't confirmed. He was a member of the protest group. He was a violent rioter. He was armed, and they ejected him, and so he lashed out on them. According to the protesters, Lopez had an altercation with another person at the park, but it wasn't Girth. I do not believe he was targeting the man that had been hit. They say Lopez had been a frequent sight at the protests, which have rocked the streets of Louisville for a month. Several Courier Journal reporters have seen him among the crowd in recent days, and a speaker at a Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression press conference Sunday morning said he'd been among the crowd for the past 12 days at least. Court records show he was one of 17 protesters arrested on June 17th, and a Courier Journal photographer captured his arrest in a photo that day. In a photo, he was charged that morning with inciting a riot, disorderly conduct, harassment, and possession of drug paraphernalia. His citation noted he was in possession of a handgun with 2 full mags of ammo at the time of the arrest. Lopez's police record before Saturday's shooting contains minor offenses such as 3rd-degree trespassing and a failure to maintain car insurance. I'm not super concerned about that. But you know what, man? One of the things this reminds me of is The Dark Knight, the film, the Batman film, right? Where you have that scene, Two-Face kidnaps this guy who's, I guess, a shooter. And he's like, where's the Joker? Tell me. And then Batman comes in and says, he's not going to be able to tell you anything. This is the kind of mind the Joker preys on. He's schizophrenic. That's what this guy was being used, manipulated. He was not all there. That's what we're seeing here. These people who are going out with weapons and rioting and destroying property, many of them are smart. Many of them are very smart. They're organized. They don't place themselves in the front. This is villainous behavior, in my opinion. I'll tell you why. These far-left individuals feel that they're smarter and better, and they know how to make a better world. They use pawns to be sacrificed in their stead. It's not just these organizers who do this. Many, everybody, every villainous type person can do something like this, regardless of your politics. Sacrificing pawns and shielding yourself. The true heroic effort is putting yourself on the front line and taking the risks to fight for something better that you believe in, respecting other people, having honor, integrity, dignity, etc. These far leftists, they prey upon these fractured minds to do their dirty work, to go around smashing and destroying. They'll get in trouble, and the organizers don't care. The organizers know full well that they're riling up people who are not smart enough, who don't know better, to actually go, to not engage in this kind of behavior. See, we know that peaceful protests work. It's a fact. Peaceful protests work. Just the way it is. Science proves it. It gives positive press attention to the groups because the media looks for something to cover, and violent riots don't work. It swings in the other direction. These organizers use the violent riots, however, to suppress people who would speak up against them. And when their allies are in the media, it can benefit them. But they don't want to risk arrest themselves. So they prey upon fractured minds to commit these acts for them. They won't actually do it. You never see, and trust me, I can name several of these high-profile far-left activists. You never see them get arrested for these things. Now, this guy, in my opinion, is what happens when one of these minds breaks. They used him. They preached to him. They riled him up, and he's clearly unwell. And then, when they said, this one's too volatile for us, we're ejecting him, he snapped. And he went to the edge of the park, fired a couple rounds in the air. Who knows where those went? Because those come down somewhere. Then indiscriminately fired into the park, killed somebody. It's not the worst mass shooting we've ever seen, but this won't be the last that comes out of this whatever this is. These people say it's a revolution, man. They've been calling themselves the resistance, and many people thought they were joking. Now, I don't think I've ever said they were joking. I think these people are serious, but I think they're children playing, it's a live action role play. I fear that we will see more of this. That's my personal fear. That's why I bought emergency food. You can get it if you want. That's why I went out and bought guns. But guess what, man? Let me tell you something. I know a lot of people like to go on Twitter and mock Tim Pool for selling his buckets of emergency food and it's so funny. I'm late to the party, man. I am late to the party. Gun sales were skyrocketing when the pandemic started, and I still didn't go out and take care of, my personal safety. It was only in the past couple of weeks that I actually went out and registered and did everything that I needed to do legally to protect my home. So these people who are laughing and saying Tim's so dumb for promoting these things, it's like, you realize a ton of people, like millions of people, were doing this well before I said anything. I kid you not. So I promoted, safe and ready meals, right? There are these emergency food buckets. Let me tell you, by the time I actually started promoting these, they were already dealing with massive exploding demand, like 10 times higher than normal. It reached like 100 times higher than normal or something like that. I didn't even come out early on this one. I was even late on the COVID story. I was like, I don't think it's a big deal. And people act like I'm overreacting. Dude, I am not the first person to point these things out, any of this stuff. It's only when I see professors and high-profile activists and comedians talking about these issues that I react to them. And I'm like, whoa, look at this. Now, we talked about, shout out to my buddy Adam, who co-hosts the Timcast IRL podcast with me, because he said this was going to happen. He said they would find their ways to the suburbs, and these people are going to come out with their guns. Called it. Straight up called it. This is a guy, apparently the Hodge twins posted a video of what's going viral where he said he was going to vote for Trump straight up because of all this. Listen, man. He said, my buddy Adam, like, these people don't realize the game they're playing, and they're going to walk into the wrong neighborhood. They're going to go to the wrong house, and someone's not going to stand for it. They got lucky this time. These people at this house in St. Louis only drew their weapons. Nobody got shot. That's lucky. But let me tell you something, man. The Seattle Chaz remains largely intact. It is going nowhere. I covered this morning. There was the fifth shooting in this area. Capitol Hill in Seattle. The businesses are suing. They're outraged. It is not going anywhere. They claimed it was over. Nope. There's still people marching around with guns. Listen, man. You can mock and laugh and joke about this, and the media said it's largely a street festival. The mayor said, maybe we'll have a summer of love. And now what is it? It's almost a war zone. Okay, almost. Maybe it's a hyperbolic. I'll walk that back. It's certainly become in what, 5 days you had 5 shootings? Come on, man, for real? I believe it is in maybe about a week, 6 days or 7 days. 5 shooting incidents. I believe 2 people have now died. At what point does this become a conflict zone? As it's lawlessness. Do we actually have a conflict zone emerging in Seattle? Maybe it's not there yet, but this is not a Summer of Love street festival. And these protests are popping up in other places. You look at what happened in Louisville, that was an occupation protest. That guy went out with his gun. At what point do these things become overtly conflict zones? I don't know, man. I really don't. Listen, a lot of people are mad at me saying I'm being pessimistic. And I'm just like, I don't understand this. These are the top trending stories. These are things that we have not seen in, I don't even know, in my lifetime. I mean, I know we had the LA riots, but that wasn't nationwide. We had nationwide riots, and the rioting has persisted for over 1 month, especially in certain areas like Seattle and Portland, but that's obvious. I don't know what stops this. The protesters keep getting new reasons to go out. They're being emboldened. And now they're saying the second wave of COVID is coming. We've got to lock everything down again. That's going to put more unemployed people. It's going to result in more unemployed people. Men, let me show you this. The scene outside the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission at 10 p.m. Sunday. It already stretches around the building. At least 150 people were there. It's just collapse, man. It is just collapse. So let me just tell you, I don't care if you disagree. I don't care if you think I'm being pessimistic. I can only tell you what I'm seeing and what I think. How many videos have to come out of people lining food banks before you think it's smart to have some supplies? Just a little bucket, just one little bucket you put in your closet. With all of the police who have been shot and killed, ambushed in Las Vegas, shot in the head, with this guy firing in a park, at what point do you say, I must protect my home? And you go out and take care of your own personal self-defense. Remember that video of the woman in her car in Virginia saying, they're on my car, help, I need help. And the 911 dispatcher said, we can't do anything. How about the viral tweet from the guy in New York who said his neighbors were fighting and he called 911 and they responded, sir, our city is under attack. What would you have us do? Make fun of me all you want. I'll tell you what, I'm getting away from the cities. I'm getting far, far away now. I'm leaving New Jersey, that's for sure. I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure that things are secure for me. I don't want to be anywhere near this. I hope no one else does. I hope you guys stay safe and avoid this stuff. Don't go out into this stuff. I don't know how to accurately. I don't know. I don't take my advice at all. You're right. I'll put it that way, because it's escalating well beyond anything that we could actually give advice on. Anything I or anyone else on any media platform could ever advise you on, because I don't know what you need to do at this point. Is protesting going to do anything? I think that'll just escalate things. But they're going around tearing down statues. They're going on a private property. What do we do? Law enforcement is crippled and demoralized. Do we just sit back and everything falls apart? I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know. I'll tell you this, though. We need law and order. We need our police to be able to do their jobs. We need our police, our law enforcement agencies to handle all of this properly. That's what we need. A restore to everything must be done legally. Man, we really do need that back. And that's, we need our police. We need police reform. I'm totally down. I don't know, man. I'll wrap it up there. The next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. at timcast.net. Stick around, and I will see you all then.